I tried to warn all of you. I tried to tell any of you that would listen, don't believe the hype surrounding the 2014 Chicago Bears. It's here on the internet, it's here on this channel on YouTube. Several times I made my thoughts on the 2014 Chicago Bears perfectly clear. And after 8 games of the 2014 NFL season, I feel perfectly right in saying that the Chicago Bears are exactly who the fuck I said they were gonna be. Period. And what else I can tell you, beyond a shadow of a doubt, is that the Chicago Bears 2014 season is over. 3-5, 3 games behind Detroit in the NFC North, playing in the NFC itself. So really, the only realistic path to the playoffs for a Bears team would be winning the division anyways. They're 2 games plus behind Green Bay with the head-to-head loss in week number 4, and they're 3 full games behind the Detroit Lions. 3-5. This team that was supposed to have this vastly improved defense and this elite offense has proven just how overaged, overpaid, overhyped, and extremely overfucking rated they truly are. I mean, when you think about it, there is no reason for hope and there is no reason for optimism. And ladies and gentlemen, and anybody that still wants to drink the fucking Kool-Aid, you need to slap yourself and wake up and enter the world that we call planet Earth and, join us in reality. This team is cooked. When you demonstrate more fight in the locker room and more fight against the fans on Twitter than you do on the field, you have a major problem in paradise. When you have a 31-year-old quarterback that is now in his 6th year in the organization and still makes the same damn mistakes that he did as a rookie back for another organization in 2006 with the Denver Broncos, you have a problem. When you pay that overrated modern-day Jeff George equivalent quarterback Aaron Rodgers type money to consistently underperform and not be able to beat Aaron Rodgers, there's a problem. When you bring multiple volatile personalities and immature meatheads and blockheads onto your team, especially in the offensive side of the ball, like Brandon Marshall and Martellus Bennett and Kyle Long, when things don't go well, you've got a problem. When you sit there and fail to address the depth on your offensive line, when you sit there and fail to address the depth at your wide receiver position behind Brandon Marshall and Alshon Jeffrey, there again is a problem. When you have 9 starters to begin the year that are aged 30 or older and you're not a good team to begin with, that just means you're old and overpaid and overrated. That's not a good thing. When you go spending big money in free agency to bring in guys like Jared Allen and Lamar Houston that have done absolutely nothing, when you sit there and decide once again to criminally neglect your safety position by bringing in some ham and egger third type guy in Ryan Mundy and rolling with Chris Conte again because that's worked so well in the past, you know you have a problem. When perhaps the weakest part of your team last year was your linebacking core, and you decide to trot out an even older Lance Briggs, an even older DJ Williams, and a combination of flops initially at strong side in either Shea McClellan or Jonathan Bostic, 2 failed draft picks of the Phil Emery regime, you know you have a problem. While teams like the Arizona Cardinals hire guys like Bruce Arians and the San Diego Chargers hire somebody like Mike McCoy, the Chicago Bears decided that they just had to get their second choice and went up to Canada to find their guy who mysteriously for some reason hadn't been a coach in the NFL for almost a decade in Mark Trestman. When you have to go to those lengths and you bring in the same type of personality that was in the organization under Dick Duran and Lovie Smith, you have a problem. When you have all this alleged talent on offense with the quarterback guru offensive genius to match, and your offense consistently goes through huge periods where you can't put any points on the board, where your so-called elite offense that finished tied for second in the league in points scored last year has failed to score 30 points even once this year, you know you have a problem. I can't remember the last time, I don't even know when there's ever been a time I've been more ashamed or embarrassed of a Bears team than I have been with this 2014 unit. I knew they were overaged, overrated, overpaid, and overhyped. But this is ridiculous. I mean, the last 2 weeks they got rolled over by the Dolphins. It was like they didn't even try. Then they decided to fight each other in the locker room, and certain players fighting fans on Twitter because they're morons. So they demonstrated even less fight against the New England Patriots this past Sunday in Foxborough. I mean, you get boat raced in back-to-back weeks. And to the Bears fans that still want to believe and still want to be naive fucks and morons about this, if we really want to be realistic about this 3-5 Bears team, if San Francisco doesn't totally screw the pooch in week number 2, the Bears are 2-6. If the New York Jets don't get hosed on that fumble call before halftime and/or had somebody maybe a little bit better in Geno Smith at quarterback, the Bears might be looking at 1-7. Think about this. The Bears' only legitimate, real deal victory they've had all season was against an Atlanta Falcons team that is 2-6 themselves and just gave up a 21-point lead in London on Sunday in the second half to the Detroit Lions. That's how sad and pathetic this Bears team is. Their defense is a mess. They have no identity. They lack depth. They lack impact players. They lack just about every fucking thing. This offense features a Brandon Marshall who has his flashes and his moments, but he was supposed to be this big vocal leader. He was supposed to be the guy that said, "This is unacceptable. Follow me. I'll lead by example." He just decided he was going to fucking disappear. You've got Jay Cutler, who, when things get tough, he gets going, and not in a good way. He just decides to go full Cutler. He's been in the league almost a damn decade now. He still consistently stares down his targets. He still consistently tries to throw in the double and triple teams. This guy just doesn't get it. And to pay a guy that much money to be that piss poor, average, and mediocre is completely and totally ridiculous. He lacks the leadership qualities that you need in a championship quarterback, and that is a fact. And anybody that believes otherwise is an idiot. You look at Alshon Jeffrey, a guy that so many people after 2013 were ready to crown his ass as becoming the second coming of Jesus Christ at wide receiver, now realize that, yes, this is a very immensely talented kid physically, but he is very inconsistent. He is far from a complete product. He is not a very well-rounded wide receiver. You basically get a deep pattern, the stupid reverse that Trestman always wants to run once or twice a game, maybe one hook pattern, and an out. That's about the extent of Alshon Jeffrey's game. The only two offensive players, frankly, worth a damn at this point in time are Martellus Bennett, who's a bit of a head case him damn self, and then Matt Forte, who is beyond question, as he proved on Sunday in the Patriots game, being the only player, frankly, on the entire team to damn show up that he is the franchise player. He is the best player on the Bears offense and on the team in general, and it's not even fucking close. Even during the Wanstead years at the end, I knew they were going to be bad. But at least I usually felt like they tried, they just sucked. It's even worse when you see a team that at least has some talent that should at least be competitive before they lose these games, just totally play like they don't give a fuck. And then to top it all off, here's the stupidity of this organization. Whereas in 2013, what perfectly epitomized the Bears season was when Jarrett Boykin took that fumble and returned it for a touchdown, as several Bears just watched it and let it sit there. They didn't play to the whistle. And then Randall Cobb broke open on a 4th and 8 late in the game. Nobody was around him. Well, in 2014, there's Lamar Houston. Hadn't done shit all year. And he sits there and celebrates a sack when his team is down by 20-plus points, and he hurts his freaking knee. If that doesn't speak to the 2014 Chicago Bears disaster of a season, I don't know what does. You know, I can't believe so many members of the national sports media and the Chicago sports media got this so fucking wrong. I told you so. And so many Bears fans disagree with me, even though knowing I have a consistent track record of being right about this team. How in the fuck could you be so obtuse as to not see what the fuck was around the corner? How could you be so obtuse as to not see what was clearly staring you right in the freaking face? Well, I hope the real truth is smacking you right in the face right now. This season is over. With what you've seen out of the Bears the past couple of weeks, they'll be lucky to win another damn game. They still got to play Green Bay. They got to play Detroit twice. They got to play Minnesota twice, and Minnesota, in my opinion, is sure as hell playing a better style of football than the Chicago Bears are right now. They still got to play the Saints. They got to play the Cowboys. And hell, they even got to play the Buccaneers. You can laugh all you want. It's not like the Bears are really playing any better over the past couple of weeks, and that's a revenge game for Lovie Smith. There's not one single gimme on that entire freaking schedule. When I said this team was going to be 6-10 before the season started, I meant it. Because no team with Jay Cutler as their starting quarterback is ever going to sniff a championship. And if you still believe that, you're a clown, and maybe you should watch another sport because you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to football. This was an offense that had some nice pieces, but didn't have everything. It didn't have enough. And it was going to, kind of balance itself out a little bit, and the offense wasn't going to be as elite as people thought it was. And then the defense, just because you bring in names doesn't necessarily mean you improve. In a defense that needed to get younger and be totally and completely gutted and rebuilt, the Chicago Bears decided to get even older. What competent organization fucking does that? Well, usually they don't. That's why the Chicago Bears do it. I've seen this happen with this Bears organization for so many years. But even now in 2014, like I said, I can't remember the last time I was so ashamed or embarrassed of a team. They look like they've quit. They'd rather fight each other. They'd rather fight the fans than fight to win fucking football games. All of that alleged so-called talent, and this team is 3-5. And without some gifts from the refs in both the San Francisco and Jets game, this Bears team could very well be 1-7. That's the reality. And the reality is that there is no hope. This team is not going to get better. What you've seen is exactly who the hell they are. In fact, it could get worse. I tried to tell people a year or 2 years ago that this organization needed to undergo a complete and total rebuild. Oh, yeah, you're just stupid. The defense would be fine in 2013. They were terrible. It's like I fucking told you they were going to be. And then in 2014, I said, you can't re-sign Cutler long term. You can't sit there and do this. No, you get better stability. And shut the fuck up. This team sucks, and now everybody knows it. Wish everybody would have listened months ago. It saved a lot of heartbreak for a lot of people. The season's over. Time to get ready for the draft and the 2015 season if you're a Bears fan. There is no hope. Give it up.